Hello, everybody. My name is Professor Pixel here once again on Madman with the Box. Of course, joining me this week, as always, the co-host with the co-most is Jimmy.
So you said co-most. Is that like a fat joke or something?
I said co-hosts. There was an extra S. I was talking about both of you.
Okay. Make sure.
So
Make
is that some kind of fat joke?
Yeah.
Yeah, how dare you? I don't want to look like the Absorbaloff. That's not a choice.
And Chris. And
I don't want to look like a naked Slovene.
We have our ever-returning guest, Landry Quinn Walker, today. He's not Landry Q.
It's a different Landry. Yeah.
Landry Q was unavailable. He was in a car, so
Yeah.
You're going to have to deal with Quinn. And finally, of course, Animated Concepts, also known as Gervain.
How you doing, everybody? Looking forward to this one as always.
Me too.
This is a good one. This is good.
Heaven Sent and Hellbent. That is our discussion for tonight. But before that, of course, we go over the news. Everybody's favorite segment, right?
Doctor Who news. Woohoo! You know what? Let's get some stuff up in here. Woo!
we need more.
I'd rather we get the episodes out. I'm sick of the news.
Me too. Me too.
Me
How
too.
do I find out the news? I don't know the news till I come on here.
Well, you're going to find out
That's good.
some things. Mostly, we're just going to start with a simple thing. David Bradley, you can see right here, is just looking forward to Ncuti Gatwa as the next Doctor. Alternatively, he could just be excited for the big finish production, Doctor Who, Back to Earth, Ninth Doctor Adventures with Christopher Eccleston.
I'm excited about that.
It's
Pretty
alright.
sure it's already out.
Well, shit.
So is Old Friends, and so is another one that you didn't get. So
41 is like,
Next
hey,
one I'm
look,
getting is
a
Stranded.
sequel to Tomb of the Cybermen is coming out soon. And we're like, it's already out.
it's been out. It's been out for a while now. But
Yeah, I'm upset about that. I didn't know.
li-
Right? That means you can get it.
Tweeted at me, and it made me happy.
Yeah,
So
it's
what's
already
that?
out.
What's sad about
You
that?
can go listen to it.
go grab
I'm excited, but it's like I wish I knew before. So now I'm like the last person.
No, I was the last person because you told me.
that.
That's fair. Actually, I told you at the same time I found out. So it's
Well, you
almost
must have known before you told me. Logistically.
fine.
Just
Fine.
Now we should go ahead and talk about Ncuti a little bit. He has some news, some big news, personal news. He officially has a doctorate. He is Doctor.
oh,
And
Yeah,
and
if
something
only
I
this
did
would
not
load. There you go.
drama.
in something, yeah, I did not know you can get a doctorate in drama.
You know
And
it's
I
cool.
I thought my arts degree was useless.
You can be a doctor. I feel like I should be an honorary doctor at this point in comic books. I've worked in comic books 30 years. What point do you just get a doctorate? Because
Yeah.
I've done it. I can do
You can
it.
get an honorary one, but you got to be friends with some like high end people, I guess.
I'm not
But,
friends
like,
with
On you know what's really cool is
He's not friends with high end people. He's friends with us.
here.
That's true. But Ncuti Gatwa is now, I believe, the second doctor to have a doctorate. Jodie Whittaker has one, I believe.
I
Oh.
did not know that.
And I think I
let's see.
heard David Tennant graduated from the same university. But I'm not sure with a doctorate.
Without a doctorate. Well,
But I
then
think he has a bachelor's in drama.
that's nothing. He's garbage now.
He's not the doctor.
He's not
Okay.
a doctor.
Ncuti is an actual doctor. Okay.
He's the doctor.
Instead of this posers.
Yeah.
That's right. Ncuti, of course, also is saying more and more he wants to battle Gillian Anderson in Doctor Who now.
Hear me out. I talked to I shared a couple words with Theories about this on his live stream at 6 a.m. because I wasn't asleep then. I told him I think two things. One, she would be a great Dream Lord if they ever brought the Dream Lord back. And he rebutted me with she would make an absolute amazing Valeyard, and I would agree.
Maybe.
I like there's only been one Valeyard in my mind, so it's very hard for me to picture another person in the role.
But like, think about it. It's a Time Lord. What if like another incarnation of a Valeyard could come back?
Yeah.
But the Valeyard is a specific incarnation. If the Valeyard regenerates, is the Valeyard still a Valeyard?
But in Trial of a Time Lord, they kind of talked. I mean, Trial of the Valeyard. They talked about it. It could just be a one of many universal type thing.
Many Valeyards.
Maybe. Well, how about we have a non-Time Lord enemy that's just as good? That'd be interesting. We don't always have to go for the common ones.
She could be a great she could be the White Guardian, the Black Guardian, any of the Guardians. We need the Guardians back.
Hashtag bring
she
back
could be
Guardians.
Death.
No. For some reason, Death always has to be a Death in my mind because of Master specifically has to be someone you wouldn't suspect. And Gillian Anderson, she's very lovely. She absolutely could play Death.
Can I jump in on a Death aside, an aside about the character, the incarnation of Death in Doctor Who? This is total aside. Unless somebody picked it up somewhere that I missed, there's dangling like little nod of something in Torchwood. When you remember in Torchwood they encounter Death.
Yeah.
Death is a skeleton shrouded in shadow. This is what kills one of the, and they bring him back to life with the
Time Lord hunters.
Okay, so they're Time Lord hunters, right?
Yeah.
They kill 13 times and they come into reality. How come no one's ever touched on the fact that they hunt Time Lords? They are specifically creatures that live in the time void that need to kill 13 times to live.
I love that idea so much.
It'd be a lot more effective if there were more Time Lords in the universe, but
Landry, if you would have made that your story and sent that into a comic book,
they still would have done nothing.
They would have been like, you know what, this is pretty rad.
I've been talking about that one since that episode aired, and
if you had sent that to Jimmy, he still would have taken 6 months to read it.
Okay, guys. Okay.
I'm not even send Jimmy this new thing I got that I know he wants to see.
You have no idea. If you hold out on me on some Justin work, I'm gonna be upset.
I know. We'll talk later. I'm just going to say Justin is upping his Justinness and is more Justin than ever, which is all good.
The last bit of Shooty info that we have for the evening.
Hold up. Sean just said the War Valeyard.
Well, there's an actual reason for that Valeyard existing. It's not like the Valeyard. They actually explain how that one exists.
Yeah. Wasn't that also Michael Jason though?
It is Michael Jason because that was the whole thing. Is like, it actually is the Valeyard and he's back.
Still the Valeyard. that in my mind, he is still
he's gonna be the Valeyard forever. Like he's just
until he dies.
Version, yeah. But to have a different version of the Valeyard, and it could be Gillian Anderson, would be awesome to see because she commands whenever she's like on screen. She commands your presence, your attention. I think she
should be Davros.
She should be Davros.
Ready for a new Davros.
Or the Rani. We haven't seen the Rani in like ages.
Oh, I like that. The Rani.
Screw it. Make her an Axon.
An Axon. Make her a Quark.
But Missy felt just like the Rani to me, so I don't feel I need the Rani. No, an Axon's perfect. A Crinoid. She can be a Crinoid.
She could be the leader of the Sisterhood of Khan. If they had some sort of significance, that would be awesome.
You're talking about the ones of the potion and all that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I have words about that. We're going to get into that today on the episode discussion. Problems. A
He has
complaint.
problems. Oh no.
no.
Complaint.
It's going to get into his tier list
I have
of ratings.
multiple- It's a two-parter. I bet every one of us should have multiple ratings on this one.
Oh well, yeah, it's a two-parter. We have to give good and not so good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Is there more
All right.
news?
Yeah, there's a little more.
Oh.
There's a little more. This is actually quite exciting. We were discussing it through the week. There was an article that was released because Michael Troughton, he's now playing the second Doctor in Beyond War Games, a fantastic Big Finish production. You can watch our review on this channel. Yeah, you should go check that out. But he says that, he wants to go ahead and do a 13 Doctors
There's 14 of
in
them.
Big Finish.
Not including the War Doctor or the Ruth Doctor.
Yeah.
Fugitive.
So technically, wouldn't that be 15?
It
That
would be
would be
15.
Doctor. I forgot about the Ruth Doctor.
How dare you? The comic book's awesome. It's okay.
Now the thing is, there's only two problems with this. One is Christopher Eccleston's ego, and the other is trying to get Capaldi back or a suitable replacement.
He nailed it on the head, dude. He nailed it.
So the
Capaldi
thing,
didn't do the voice work for the Lego Dimensions game, did he?
yes, he did.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Capaldi hasn't done a single Big Finish. It's been Jacob Dudman and someone else. I don't know the name.
I bet he will eventually. He just didn't want to get into it.
Like straight up after.
Yeah.
Yeah, give him time. He'll get there. And then Dudman, if you can't get Smith, just get Dudman to do 11, since he does a fantastic.
Oh,
11.
dude, perfect.
What does Matt Smith have going for him?
He needs-
Game of Thrones. But other than that, Morbius, come on, he'll be back.
Morbius 2.
Other than
yeah.
like the biggest show on HBO, what does he got going for him?
Matt Smith back for Morbius 2. Let's go.
It's
What
Morbin
if-
time, baby.
I'm not aware of the history. What if Matt Smith is just another Ned Stark? Oh, first season, chop.
It's probably
Good
only
luck.
going to be one season, unless it does really well, and then it's probably going to go push it.
They're
But,
hoping it does really well. But anyway, the thing about Christopher Eccleston, though, he has apparently talked, because he's been doing cons, about doing the recordings, and he name dropped, what's his name? David Warner, who plays the Unbound Doctor for Big Finish. So basically, their what if universe, he's their main doctor that fuels that. Am I correct in saying that, Chris?
Yes, well, I mean, they call him the Unbound Doctor, even though Unbound has multiple different ones. Yeah, he is the Unbound Doctor.
Yes. So that's already just him slowly winging somewhere.
I mean, it'd be interesting. I mean, David Warner's still doing it. He's in the Bernie Summerfield series as the Unbound Doctor.
I have been meaning to check that
It's
out.
kind of funny. I'm sorry. It's a little side thing. I'm looking at the picture that's up there, and it just gets me thinking, like how like stuff can age a time period poorly. And I'm looking at all their clothes, and the one person that stands out the most is just the 9th Doctor. He just looks like an average bloke who just doesn't belong there. He's just like
He looked
found
like
his
that
way
from
there.
day one. That his
What?
outfit always looked like I mean, I think I owned that jacket before the show even aired. It was just a common jacket.
Yeah, but like I'm just looking at it, it just doesn't fit.
It
But
doesn't
it's-
fit when you
it's
look at
so
all of them
cool.
together.
Yeah.
Hey, why is our last one been removed by violating YouTube policy content?
Beep the meep, the fight of the beep the meep punching someone. That
Beep.
removed it.
A beep ruined everything. Yes.
Wait,
He gets in a fight and takes down our stream.
A man in a bunny costume took down our stream. You think about that.
oh my god! Seriously?
That's why this is episode 10. Again.
It's
It's like
sad.
the Meta Crisis episode. Just
It was our last episode where I thought we achieved as perfect, like, it was art. It was art.
There might be an edit to it later on, and it'll be released as a lost episode, thrown in with all the ones that Jimmy never edited.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
We only have a few more things. Just a few more things. Don't kill me, please. Stop the gun. Oh, this is the main thing for the evening. This is apparently I don't think it's real. A logo leak of Doctor Who.
Like the old novels. It looks fake.
Yeah, it looks.
Yeah.
It looks like Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Well, that's because
That Doctor, I'm pretty sure, is the Doctor from Jason Aaron's logo.
Well,
Oh, okay.
somebody
So-
says the
Yeah,
R.
it's more the comic. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like Jason Aaron's design for when he was doing.
Yeah.
Wait, go back to the
This.
You're wrong. That H looks. Oh, okay. It's a reversed kind of version of the target H, where it swoops off to the right rather than to the left.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's fake,
It is fake. Yeah.
it's very
yeah.
fake.
but
It's not even well fake. The space between Doctor and Who is really off. The letters are too thin. This is a bad fake. Somebody did a very bad job at this. The kerning is very poor.
you
All right,
should
Landry,
feel bad.
Don't need to pick on someone. Jesus.
Yeah.
What if I did it? What if it was
Oh,
me?
speaking of picking on someone, though, now we get to my favorite part of the evening: the Doctor Who theme song submitted by young Chris Chibnall.
Oh no.
Yes, this is apparently real. Yeah,
Oh, it's an actual song.
an actual song.
Oh no.
Oh, it's
You-
first draft as well.
Uh,
Does this go to the tune? Doo,
that's what I was trying to work out.
3, a man standing
Yeah.
out
One
on the fire.
fateful day in '63. Like
A man staggered out of the fog.
It's more of a Tolkien version. One faithful day in '63, sort of like that.
You sure?
Please no.
Yeah.
No.
Makes sense with the random celery recorder. Oh, that's its chorus. Okay. I didn't notice that it repeated earlier. I was too busy focusing on the top.
the Doctor's been hung, drowned, shot, and killed. I mean, no.
Yeah, it works.
Everybody-
No, it's good.
Everybody's been fixating on the Doctor's been hung because the proper term is hanged. Yeah.
His mind-blowing adventures have certainly filled the grief of viewers with the light to witness his never-ending fight against evils in the universe. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
is this like a? Did he just like listen to a Gilbert and Sullivan? It's like, yeah. What if I just made it Doctor Who?
You know, it makes sense.
Yes.
The Doctor's been hung. He's been a man for like over 50 years, so makes sense. At least one of them.
Speaking of first draft Chibnall, we call him first draft Chibnall as a joke. I found out today, actually. You guys want to know something funny? His first season of season 11 as showrunner, the season finale, Raxa, Corico, whatever, Phalapatorius, whatever it's called.
The Battle
Yeah.
of something, because it's not a good title.
Yeah, it's a horrible. Turns
The Battle
out
of
that's
Kim Shaw.
actually a first draft. He said he ran out of time.
Oh my god.
Wow, I am not shocked. Look at the shock on my
Yeah.
face.
We live in a society.
I half the things I do, I never write second drafts. I mean, you work on these deadlines. I'm
Unless
with-
you're confident. Unless you're confident that it's really good, I don't know. Maybe you should.
But most of the
Seems
time,
could be-
I agree. You should, like, when I'm doing my creator-owned work, I might do 10 or 12 drafts. I've spent years writing stuff. But when you're working on any of these kind of projects, TV included, and I've written a little bit of it, you often just don't have the time. Even if you're not confident, even well, that's not ready, but this is the job. And it's either that or you don't, or just doesn't happen. Usually because somebody else somewhere down the line did something that meant that you don't have any time to make it happen.
When you
I
were
just
working
feel-
on Game of Thrones, was there like a huge deadline like that?
Game of Thrones was easy. That I wouldn't even count that one. Yeah, we had deadlines, but we were working so far in advance. And if I needed more time, my editor, Anne, who was fantastic, would have given me more time. But that wasn't the kind. When I was working on, you work on something like Batman, and you got an artist waiting or a production team waiting to film the show, everyone is being held up. But maybe there's some other person in the pipeline that's holding you up from getting work, and suddenly you get, I don't know, it's happened. You get 8 hours to do a draft or something. You get a day, maybe. I mean, I wrote my Star Wars novels. I had about 4 hours to write each one of those. They got one draft. And those were I'm serious. Those were novellas. They were only 6,000 words each, but from start to finish, I had about 4 hours for each one. And what am I going to do? Like, I can't make more time up here.
No. But
it's true.
That's just crazy to think about.
But what Chibnall is saying there, based on the little bit I heard here, because I don't follow any of this stuff, I could see that, and I'd have to know more before I held that against him. Like, if he could have made the time, or he just was, I went to the beach instead of working, well, then he can go to hell. But I'm going to assume the best here for him in that he was not given the time he needed. That happens all the time.
Well, here's the thing. RTD, when he was doing the show, he said that he would get about like a month, sometimes a month and a half to do a script.
That's a long time.
See, the thing is, for that defense to work, okay, I understand what you're saying. At the same time, this showrunner has given us the least amount of Who in the longest period of time.
True.
That is.
I think I saw something that Jodie has now had the longest tenure as the Doctor. You know why? Because they haven't been producing anything for years.
Yes.
Just chunks of that time is empty.
Just think, we've had 2 episodes this year. We're gonna get a third, but we're not gonna get one again for another almost a year after that.
But let's say Chibnall spends a month writing an episode that's going to take place on a space freighter, and then suddenly BBC for some reason says, you know what, this is happening in a quarry, and also there's other reasons we don't want you to do this story. Write a new one. You have a day.
That could happen. That could happen. At the same time, with what they've allowed Chibnall to do to Doctor Who, which they've never let any writers do before.
I'll admit I'm stretching it. It's probably he just didn't do it. I'll grant you. This happened to me with Frozen too. I was 3/4 of the way through my Frozen novella, and the studio decided they liked what I was doing with it, so they didn't want me to do it. They wanted to use it in a short instead, even though I created it. But we still needed a book in 2 days, so I still had to write it in 2 days. They did pay me hazard pay, so that was nice.
Wait, so did they give you credit in the short?
No. Remind me to tell you about that scene I wrote that's in Avengers that everyone loves. So
was it the it's gotta be the Hulk and Thor one, right?
That's all.
Loki.
Oh wow. All right. I think that's about it. We have gone through all the news, and now it's time for our discussion. And as I am in the minority here, I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Chris, because Jimmy was first last week.
No, hold up. Sorry, give me 1 second. And Sean, we gotta talk about the chat says stuff. We gotta acknowledge the chat every now and then.
Okay, fine.
I'm not following the chat. I hear you.
And Sean says, I can't blame Chibnall for Flux. He had a tough time because of the pandemic. I would say, with all his everything going against him, I think he wrote some great Doctor Who with what he had. Except for the very, very end.
And then fumbled it. Yeah.
I liked everything except for just not this bit right here. But right here, everything's good.
I believe
middle end is where it lost me.
I believe
Here's the thing. Sorry, go ahead. No.
I was just going to say, I believe we have the entirety of our reviews of Flux on the channel. And I need to go over those because we're like halfway through, there is a major stumble. Well, I could go through the episodes, but the other ways were less painful.
But like if you go back and watch it, my opinions have changed a lot My opinions actually have changed a lot from what we're going to talk about with Helmet. But like just the flux after rewatching it all in one sitting, well, not one sitting, 2 sittings, but like rewatching them all, I think he did really good with what he had.
All right.
Except for except for the finale. Go ahead, Larry.
So look, he's filmed this in a pandemic. Granted, he had to make a TV show where people were in quarantine, they were in isolation. You couldn't have actors standing next to other actors. You really needed just maybe, I don't know, focus. What are you going to do? Have one actor carry the entire episode, just monologuing the whole thing without anyone else in it? Does that sound familiar? Just saying.
No, it doesn't.
All right, I think
Javane, say something. You haven't spoke hardly anything, man.
No.
Oh no, I ain't got no dogs in this particular fight. So, and that pun was intended. No, that's it.
we have Chibnall's bone has been passed. It's the end. We have one more thing. It's done. So let's go on about it. Let's talk about something even older than that. Something that actually has perfection and debatably, depending on how much of a fall you see it following that. But perfection. Let's go ahead and talk about it. Chris, take us away. It's your
Heaven Sent. We're going to begin with, obviously, the superior episode of this two-parter, Heaven Sent. What can I say about it that hasn't been said already? It is absolutely fantastic. Probably one of Capaldi's strongest performances because he's just there by himself.
One of?
I said one of Jimmy. I didn't say it's the strongest. It's one
I think
of.
it's the strongest, dude. He had to carry an episode by himself. And
it's been a while since I've watched Capaldi, so.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
What do you mean, random Gallifreyan boy at the end? Totally helped bring some life into it.
No.
Like Broom Boy.
How do we shut up the host?
You can't, unfortunately. But Capaldi's performance in this is absolutely amazing. And then the twist at the end. Oh, I always love it going through the constant loop, showing how everything is leading up to that finale. But the only difference is how long he's been there. Is like, if I had to say I've been here for 2 billion years. I've been for this certain amount. It's like, it's such a great scene. Like everything about the episode, there is not a single flaw with it that I could find. It's just a perfect episode. I would say you could try to watch this by itself, but you kind of do need a little bit of the previous episode to set up how he's here. But I think the previously on does it enough anyway. So I don't know. You probably could watch this by itself and be like, perfect. Take it away. Who would like
Landry.
Go ahead, Landry. We'll go in the W.
How about all the problems with Heaven Sent? Yes, I have it. Okay, all right. So one, I think you're right. You need a little bit of context that keeps it from being truly perfect. It does. I've watched this episode probably about 20 times. And with everyone I can, even people who don't watch Doctor Who, it's the only episode they've seen. I sit them down, and they love it. I just have to give them a little bit of context. The Doctor travels with companion. That companion was killed by a force we don't know. The Doctor was banished into a teleporter, and he's been carrying around for some time a confession dial. Really, that's it. You tell anyone that, and they go, oh, okay, and that's all you need. And maybe you need to know, like, no, that's it. That's all you need. And so it's a brilliant, beautiful episode. The star of the show of this episode has got to be Murray Gold with his finest music to date. It was a play off a piece that was recorded for the 50th anniversary and turned to perfection in this piece. Capaldi because of this, Capaldi, in my mind, is the finest actor they have in Doctor Who. He is the finest Doctor. He is the best. I've never seen anyone carry a performance like that all on his own. It's brilliant. My problems with the episode aren't important. They're strictly mechanical. The skulls why do they keep piling up? If they keep piling up, why don't they overflow over time? The dust.
Why do they look Scottish?
The dust. Why does the dust, if every room resets, why doesn't the dust get cleaned up like the blood does? Why does the body in the skull and everything else take so long to disappear? Why is the skull there at all? None of this really matters, because this episode is a really good example in writing about how an episode makes you feel rather than the logistics. It's not important. Mechanically, this episode has problems that don't matter because the journey you're on carries you along so strongly. I then ignore the end. Are we talking about just this one and then we'll talk about the next one?
Yeah.
Or we?
Yeah.
Okay. Then that's my take. It's beautiful. It's brilliant. It has flaws in the sense that I think they knew when they wrote, and they said, that doesn't matter. Who cares? And they were right.
Which is interesting you say that, because having rewatched this episode, I found out there is a short story from the perspective of the monster, the Veil. And the thing is, it's set there to make sure the Doctor confesses about the hybrid. Doesn't know why. It's just that's what it's been told to do. Then over the years, it kind of just gets sick of the Doctor dying, and he wants to help it. It wants to help him. So the spade that he randomly finds, he leaves it there because he's sick of the Doctor breaking his hand every time he tries to open the wall, because the spade is made of a material that can break the wall. But the Doctor is always scared of seeing the Veil and forgets about the spade. So the monster's like, okay, I'm just not going to bother. It's just going to keep repeating that. And so some of the little clues, like the bird, like why there's food there for him every time, who's lighting the fire, who's repairing some of the stuff.
Yeah.
It's the monster. It's not a close energy loop. The monster has to do all of it by himself to give the illusion that everything is repeating.
Poor thing.
It actually has a sad end too, because it's up to the Doctor's final like punch of the wall, and the monster's like, he can finally be free, and I hope he gets to take me because I feel like I'm his companion.
Oh, who wrote
throughout this whole thing?
Brilliant. How sad.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the person who sent the monster there is like, oh, don't worry, you'll be back in a week. 4.5 billion years later.
4.5 billion years later. Yeah.
All right.
Jimmy,
animated concepts or Jimmy?
Javane's turn.
Oh, yeah. That's no problem. Yeah, my only criticism of anything of Heaven Sent is kind of some of the others already addressed, is I think that it does require a little bit of context. I don't think that I definitely don't think it's someone who's never watched Doctor Who before. It's something you can easily walk into. But I think that basically when it comes down to Capaldi's run on it, I think it's pretty much I feel it was where he peaked. Even when he went into the season with Bill after that, if I'm remembering it correctly, because I like Husbands of River Song. I thought that was great. It was still carrying me forward. I think it kind of took this particular Doctor to the heights of what he could be. And there really, in my sense, wasn't anywhere else for him to go after this, even with bringing Missy back and the Master back in the final episodes, because it did. I think Clara has always been that's the other problem I have. Clara has always been a problem for me as a companion, because I never thought she really gelled with 11, with Smith, and I thought the dynamic with her, even though a lot of people go for the two, he was in love with her, something like that. To me, it was more of a father-daughter relationship. So to me, I always look at it as this is really a father in mourning and really seeking to avenge the death of a much beloved daughter. But I agree. I think that Capaldi, to take this kind of a script and to take this, was really a story that's very, in one sense, minimalist. But really, when you watch it again, you discover all these layers to it. I think it was his finest performance, and I think if he had gone out here, he pretty much would have gone out in the bang and would have arguably it'd have been tough to not argue he was one of the top 3 doctors, at least of the modern revival. So I don't think there's a whole lot you can go into on Heaven Sent other than it's not something you can watch, in my opinion, without having at least some larger context of the Doctor and Clara's relationship, much less the rest of the season. So
I think that's a really great point. And you're saying that it's so good that it brings that it really everything after is a little anticlimactic, right?
yeah, it's very, in my opinion, it's very, with the exception of Husbands of River Song, because I think that was good because that was. It was a Christmas special, but it was also putting a cap. It was putting a cap on, and I think this is the problem that sets up the problem for 13. Is that basically when you look at Capaldi's run, with the exception of the Bill season, that arc from 9 up until this point, it's over with because you're still talking about this guy who's dealing with the survivor's guilt. That this is the survivor's guilt, and in this sense, he's dealing with and I feel a more personal version of the survivor's guilt is the fact that he lost Clara the episode before. Yeah. He lost Clara the episode before. So I think it's really like, yeah, it's a purge for him. And I think even when you look at the end of Husbands of River Song, which I watched the other night, and it ends with that bit where they lived happily ever after, it's almost an end cap on the Doctor is happy. Not that they live happy after forever, but he just had a happy ending with one of his companions and with everything he's gone through. Because what he's talking about is he's tired of losing. He's tired of losing people. He's tired of losing people. And he really gets to deal with this in a very, I'm trying to think of the word for it, but I think he gets all the trauma of losing people out after this episode. And then he gets to kind of ride off into the sunset, and literally into the sunset with River after that. So I just think they went one season, they went one season too long after this. You're right. Capaldi really brings it home.
God, but I love Bill. Bill is so great.
I love Bill.
Bill's amazing. But let's be honest. If Doctor Who ended with season 9, I think he's right. Like that could have been one of the greatest Doctors of all time. Because if I'm not mistaken, wasn't Capaldi supposed to? I know Moffat, wasn't he supposed to leave after season 9? But they couldn't find anyone, so he stayed for another season.
I think so. I don't know.
Something like that. Because there was that.
You got a computer? Google.
Is Sean saying Husbands of River Song could have been Moffat's last? Yes. So maybe, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, but like, if that would have happened, I think we could be speaking with one of the best Doctors of all time. Whoa, gosh. Okay, hold up.
I mean, I think we are, but
I don't know why that him doing more doesn't take away what he did.
Anticlimactic. The next season was anticlimactic.
If you take away Hellbent, I think, and then kept Husbands of River Song, it would have been like a perfect ending to the series as a whole. But because it didn't, and you keep Heaven Sent, I think that it works better with Heaven Sent. I mean, Hellbent. I really, I'll save it for later. But
no.
I can't.
Go ahead. You go ahead because my perspective requires both. So I can't separate the two. They need to be together. So
I can. I think it would have been better if Hellbent was the start of season 10. Because it would have worked better. Like Heaven Sent was like the ultimate payoff. Like you end it with, holy crap, he's back on Gallifrey. And then you start the next season with him actually on Gallifrey trying to get Clara back. But he can't, so he settles down as a professor in wherever the hell he was at, Glasgow. I don't know.
He went back to. Didn't he go back to Coal Hill? No,
Coal Hill.
No, he went to a university, so I don't think it was Coal Hill.
He was a college professor. Landry, I know my stuff, but I feel like it would have worked better. But Hellbent wasn't. It was just a anticlimactic season finale.
All right, is that your thoughts?
On what? Just Heaven Sent? Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's
Okay.
Hellbent, I can go on forever.
I'm going to, because Heaven Sent is the perfect beginning of the end. It is absolutely the perfect just from the raw emotions that we do feel. Landry said that himself. How it makes you feel is the most important thing of this episode. You feel what the Doctor's going through. You feel the 4 point whatever billion years that he has to endure. And for that to have payoff, it's not Gallifrey coming back isn't the payoff for the Doctor. It's not the payoff for the character, the Doctor, because he, at that moment, isn't himself. That's the whole point of Hellbent.
That wasn't my argument. That wasn't my argument. My argument was for the payoff was you also find out that the people behind killing Clara was the Gallifreyans. That would have been the Time Lord. Yeah, I couldn't for some reason blank. The Time Lords.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah, but my point is that with that, getting to that, the reveal of Gallifrey is great at the end, but for that to actually have any impact, I couldn't imagine it just cutting off right there. If that was the cliffhanger for the next season and the next season started with Hellbent, people would not be happy. I don't think it would gel well at all.
You kidding me? Coming out with a banger? Coming out with like a heavy hitting episode? I think that would bring people going, oh crap, we're in for a season.
Yeah, but that's only if it was meant to be a season. If it was a season of the Doctor actually going toe to toe with basically the whole Gallifreyan culture, Rassilon, and the whole Gallifreyan culture, then that would make sense. In other words, a season arc. Yeah, not, and that's why people were disappointed with Hellbent, because basically he overthrows. I mean, I know what they were trying to do, but he pretty much overthrows the whole society like in 10 minutes. It's just kind of like,
what he did had consequences that rippled through the rest of the season. That even, I mean, that maybe like just led to disaster, like the Time Lord Victorious sort of moment. What he did in Gallifrey ended with Hellbent. I haven't even talked about Hellbent yet, but I'm going to jump in on this part. And it didn't continue. If it had deep effects from there, then I totally agree with.
But to be fair, it was at the very end of time. The universe was almost over.
So, well, I mean, that's where Gallifrey positioned itself. But
no.
Yes.
No, they didn't say that.
Yes,
they jumped in at the end of time, though.
What is the end of time with Time Lords? It's just that's Sunday.
Well, the end of the universe is where Gallifrey has been positioned for its safekeeping. That's what they say, because the hybrid, which has been set up, I don't care for the hybrid aspect of it. I understand that is supposed to mirror their relationship as a shielder or me explains it, but I forgot about the fixation, because the relationship is the focus. It is toxic. Sadly, they have grown far too similar to each other, and it's caused a desperation of the Doctor so far that he loses himself, which, of course, we've seen him go too far before, but not to this level. And so what does he have to do at the end of this? He has to set up, either she has to forget him or he has to forget her. But it really is, I don't see it working without him forgetting Clara. And at the end, her having to work her way back. I think that for a season finale, Hellbent does cap it off, perfectly. It wouldn't be an ending. And I know, Landry, you talk about this all the time. A story has to have an ending. The ending is what matters. Hellbent is the ending of this season, and without it,
that leads into what I wanted to say about this episode. But when you're done,
I've said what I said.
Hellbent hurts Heaven Sent.
Yeah,
just like Return of the Jedi hurts Empire Strikes Back. Empire Strikes Back.
Whoa. Okay, we're gonna have to go into a conversation about that. Okay,
we can do that. But
yeah, chill.
We're talking about things that end on a second act, and the third act is an inherent part of the story. As much as I love Heaven Sent and I love it and I will rewatch it to the end of my days, it is not a complete story the way they set it up. And Hellbent, while there are scenes in it I really enjoy and there are themes in it I think are very good, the execution doesn't do a lot for me because the ramifications don't feel as big. And I think that gets into the anticlimactic effect that was just being discussed. It isn't as strong. They don't stick the landing, and so you're left going, okay, well, it's not a two-parter. It's one part split into two. It's one show split into two, just like Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi is one movie cut in half functionally. Even though it wasn't written that way or filmed that way, that is ultimately what it is. It's a story split in the middle, and a story is only as good as its ending. And ultimately, the ending is fine.
Go ahead, Jermaine.
I'll give Landry this. No, I'll give Landry this in terms of the Empire and the Jedi. You could watch Empire Strikes Back, and if Return of the Jedi never happened, you would have had a strong beginning, middle, and end. So there is no doubt in my mind about that. If you take the two together, you're right. You get rid of the Ewoks and then just add another hour onto the movie and just made it a 3-hour movie, then you're good. So I'll give you that.
They could also fix the Jabba story as its own movie, giving it more time to breathe, giving Luke more training, bring back him building his lightsaber, all that. We're on an aside here, but it ended up feeling rushed, hurried, and his resolution felt. Yeah. But that's another debate. We can all disagree on that.
That's another debate.
But do you feel that way about Hellbent? Do you feel that it's rushed and?
I feel like the ramifications of what that did to the Doctor should have been felt for a long time, for a season. I would have loved a season of dealing with that.
While I do agree, at the same time, the whole point of the end of the episode is that he has to, by force, let it go. And she's going to go back and die, and so things are set into place. It's actually Capaldi with a clean slate.
Which is nice. And there's a lot to enjoy about that. And I love the season, but it is anticlimactic in comparison because that episode is so good.
No one is bringing up the fact. This pisses me off. They bring back Rassilon for 15 minutes.
Yeah, it was.
No, I already brought that up. That's what I said. I said that the fact that he essentially carries out if you want to say a planet-wide, but definitely a societal-wide coup within 10 minutes, that is a problem. Because now, I will admit being a normie of the group. That's it. But I was saying because I will admit being a normie of the group. My idea of what the Gallifreyan Society and who founded it was. So please correct me, John, if I'm wrong. Was that basically it was the Doctor or whatever he was called at the time, Rassilon, and Omega was the other one? Was the other one?
Omega was the engineer.
So
the other.
Yeah. So for two of the three heavies to meet, and for one of them to be so easily dispatched, I was like, it felt like you felt like you were leaping over this much more larger story with potential to basically do something, to basically do a reverse version of what 10 had to do with Donna. I don't know. It just felt like it didn't. It felt like they missed a bigger story. Oh,
very much.
With Capaldi actually going on a revenge arc in the next season. That's what I would have preferred to see.
I have one last really strong opinion, but Chris hasn't gotten to. I want to hear Chris's take on.
On Hellbent, you've essentially summed up a lot of what I thought. It has its moments, but it does feel kind of anticlimactic. I'm okay with them just giving Capaldi a fresh start because getting him to forget Clara seemed like the obvious choice, but then we don't get any ramifications of like what he has done leading up to that. Like kicking Rassilon out, essentially becoming going against his morals. That he's giving into the whole that he'll never be cruel or cowardly, and that's what he's doing because he all he cares about is saving Clara. He's going against what makes him the Doctor. So I don't like that, and it seemed like too much of an easy way out, and we don't get any ramifications from that. Hellbent is a fine episode. It just feels like they just had to quickly just like, okay, we have to end these things because
it suffers from
we're starting with
a fantastic episode.
Yes, and it suffers from following a fantastic episode.
Now
it should have been more. I feel like Heaven Sent should have been the prequel to a two-parter. Hellbent could have been the first.
Yeah.
And it's just dealing with the Doctor is now back on Gallifrey. They forced him for 4.5 billion years to be in his confession dial against his will. And he's out for some kind of revenge. And then the second half, you can deal with the whole Clara situation. I
disagree. I disagree because his whole thing about revenge isn't about himself. He doesn't care that he spent 4.whatever billion years in that dial. He did that on purpose because he wanted to get, but he wanted to get to Clara. Clara is the everything in that situation. Clara, whatever. Come on,
Clara.
No, but seriously though, I gotta be honest with you. Even though I got some problems with Hellbent, I like this episode. I like it a lot. Because it goes, what happens when the Doctor goes too far? We got to see that. And especially the moment, my favorite moment in all of this was the moment when they're on like that Matrix hub thing in the basement. And I don't know what it's called. Yeah. But
in the cloisters.
But Clara goes, they were having a conversation, and then he goes, I can't be like, it's very hard for someone to be the Doctor all the time. And then she saw that and went, oh shit. Yeah, he was really too far now. He's not the Doctor anymore. And she has to say back to him, what happened to the Doctor? Where's the Doctor? That for me was like okay. She knows this can't last. Go back.
What the hell was that sister of Karn doing there? She's not a Gallifreyan.
So
she did not belong there.
The reason why Rassilon at that point is crazy old man. I survived the war. I get my rights. No, and the sister of Karn is there because the Doctor has returned. She wasn't responsible for locking him up in the dial, but at the same time, she is pretty much taking responsibility for the Doctor there because, well, this is after that. That's what I
out of everyone there, she somewhat knows him best. She knows what he's going to do. Like that whole he doesn't blame Gallifrey for the Time War. It's like, oh, that's good. I didn't think he would. Yeah, he just blames you.
Yes, which is also why at that moment when they do get the new TARDIS, she goes ahead and says, "You come out here and face me, boy. You've gone way too far." Even she's saying it, and yeah. No, I mean, that's the whole thing of this episode. The Doctor going too far. And from that, what they have to do is wipe him clean. That's what Clara does. She takes what was supposed to be for her and tries to reverse it and tries to wipe it clean. Get him to be the Doctor again. And
all of this would be
then face her death.
If they just had taken 2 or 3 episodes to tell it. Like, give me something longer. It felt rushed. It felt compressed. I didn't feel like I really like. I mean, again, like was pointed out, the conflict between the Doctor and Rassilon is thrown away. It just feels like, okay, all right, that happened. The Doctor executing somebody was a bridge too far for me too. I have to say, and I get it. They're making a point, but it's just there's some things that make it hard for a character to come back.
To be fair, he didn't execute.
How many regenerations?
Yeah, but to Pixel's point, okay, so if the point is that the Doctor starts off Heaven Sent with, he's there to basically take revenge for whoever it was that killed Clara. So basically, for him, the first 15 to 20 minutes of the first part of Hellbent was just a ruse. It was just, I'm playing at the time Lord Victorious thing to basically get to my ultimate goal, which is because you rat bastards, which have shown me for 4.5 billion years that you're willing to throw every damn rule out the window, then guess what, son? I get to do the same thing too. I'm not playing by any rules anybody else is playing by. So I'm gonna fake like I'm doing this, and that. Because my real goal is just to break all the damn rules now and just basically do what I want, which is to save Clara. Which puts him in the Time Lord Victorious kind of a place. It's different than 10 though, because with 10, it was the thing of like him wanting to save people, but it just felt like it felt like when 12 did it, it was more of a personal reason. It's just more like he's doing this with someone he actually cares for, as opposed to proving a point to the universe or just being mad about something. Yep. And I think what happens is because of the way they go about the rules that they pick for the Doctor to get to basically obfuscate, excuse me if I'm getting that word wrong, his true goal. It's like, well, now that you introduced me to that very real dynamic, I'd rather have more of that than this. I just think, it's like, I think what they use to basically serve as the red herring, but what the Doctor's true intentions was to get Clara, just open the audience up to a storyline that they would have much rather see play out all the way through. They just needed. I just think they need to pick something else. I mean, it's kind of like
it's literally like a Gallifrey Civil War that they opened the doors to that we never got to see.
Yeah.
I like on the bright side. On the bright side, the person who directed these 2 episodes was Rachel Talalay, and they are beautiful episodes. And she's directing one of the specials for the 60th anniversary. So I'm excited to see which one she's going to do. I heard up to 3, Pixel.
I'm pretty sure it's 1 or 2 because they have a new person on set for.
Oh, that's weird. I literally heard 3.
I heard 7 just now.
No, there's definitely 3 things, but I'm not sure she's directing all 3 of them. That's
actually.
Well, no. What I'm saying, I said one of them, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think she's gonna. I think she's directing just one of the episodes, which is cool because I want to see what she's gonna do.
In it too.
But to be a pissant and bring Star Wars back into it, this was always the problem with the second trilogy, prequel trilogy, was that don't sit up here for years and tell me about the Clone Wars, and then that's what I get. One movie is about Jar Jar Binks and the rebellion on some planet. I could give a you know what's about. The second one is supposed to be the actual Clone Wars, really? And then the third one has nothing to do with No. It's like that should have been like, Dances with Wolves and Last of the Mohicans and Glory all wrapped up in the 3 films. And it just happened to be the Clone Wars. That's what was supposed to happen.
Attack of the Clones ends with the beginning of the war, and the Revenge of the Sith begins.
Exactly.
The end of the war.
And it goes into a Cartoon Network series that people barely couldn't figure out. Oh, that was the Clone Wars. No.
I liked it.
No. I liked it. It was like, no, bro.
It's over, Anakin.
It's a good movie. Is it? Yes, it is, Landry.
That's a conversation for another day.
Different podcast.
I think. Well, if we started a Star Wars podcast, it would never end.
I don't think I'm allowed to weigh in on that one.
That's true. That's fair. But that is, I'm pretty sure that's pretty much our end, right? Right, boys?
We haven't given ratings. That's it.
Oh, that's true.
Hellbent had a shake and bake Gallifrey and Civil War. That's the big takeaway.
I'm so happy, Land. Hey, Gervain, you're talking. You give a rating.
No problem. I will give Heaven Sent a 9. You got no problem with that. 9 out of 10. I will give Hellbent a 7 out of 10.
Landry took out his notebook for all the ratings he has to write down.
Or 15 ways that I rank Heaven Sent and Hellbent by Landry Quinn Walker. Where's the scroll?
By Roy
Just pulls out a whiteboard and has all
My
the red
rating.
string.
For this episode,
Sure.
All right, Landry.
It's complicated. It because on its own, there's a lot. I mean, Heaven Sent on its own is a brilliant character study. It's an episode in a bottle. It's a brilliant exploration of grief. Hellbent is so steeped in. You can't just jump into it. You have to watch the entire season. It's very steeped in lore. It's very complicated. It's everything that the previous episode isn't. Because you really can explain the previous episode with a couple sentences and give people the context they need to enjoy the study of grief that is that episode. And I have experimented with that by having everyone I know watch it, including non-Doctor Who fans, and it works. No one can follow Hellbent without the season that goes before it. So the ratings, I'm not even going to give this one a rating. One is brilliant. The other could be great under different context. So
You're not even going to give a rate out of your 15
You're
freaking
abstaining?
ratings. You're not even going to give one.
Okay. It's a 9.5 for Heaven Sent.
Okay.
If you watch it alone. If you watch it as a whole, it becomes maybe a 7. Hellbent could have been an 8, but instead it's a 4.
Oh.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's not great on its own. It's just not great.
I would have preferred his other rating where he didn't say anything at all. All right, Chris, your turn, man.
All right. Heaven Sent, 9.5. An amazing episode, but you do kind of need the before the previous episode for a little bit more context, and then also Hellbent because it's the first part of a two-parter. Hellbent itself, 7. Yeah, 7 out of 10. It's not bad. It's just anticlimactic and follows off from a great episode, and it can't get to that same level in my opinion. It really had a lot going against it. You can't give me an amazing episode and be like, hey, here's the second half of it. It's like, oh well,
Jimmy?
You tried.
Pixel?
No, you. I go last.
Okay.
He's the host. He goes last, apparently.
Okay. But I gotta give Heaven Sent a 9.5. The only reason I'm taking off a 0.5 is because it's not Vincent and the Doctor. And that's a damn shame.
That's another great episode.
Monster wasn't invisible.
Yeah.
That's not the point of you know what? I'm not even gonna go into it. But I think just because if Vincent and the Doctor wasn't an episode, I think this could be my favorite episode of all time. So it's probably close to a 10, but I can't give it to it. So I'm just going to give it a 9.5. And Hellbent, because of okay. Brian Michael Bendis, when he was writing Daredevil, he would bring in a lot of characters that were big and then beat them with one punch or with like not even a big fight or something very quick. This was Rassilon, one of the biggest villains in all of Gallifrey history.
But he wasn't Timothy Dalton.
He wasn't James Bond. He was guy from Game of Thrones. I know it is underwhelming. Given if you also listen to the Big Finish series, how much of a threat he is to his own society. Like he willingly lets himself be assassinated because he could use himself as a martyr. It will give him more support. He's like, I knew you were onto this assassination plot. I let it happen because it's going to benefit me in the long run. Good luck with that. And it works.
This is an aside. This is not fair for me to judge the episode or the actor by this, but it always distracts me because the guy who plays Rassilon in this looks just like my deceased grandfather, and it's creepy. I'm like,
Your grandfather's evil.
maybe a little. He probably was a
sorry.
little.
Sorry.
He did. He didn't hear you. I hope.
But the thing is, you have one of the biggest villains in all of Gallifrey history. Hey, do you want to be immortal? He'll make you immortal. Just go watch the 3 Doctors. Oh no, the 5 Doctors.
5 Doctors.
And it's just like you shove him off in 15 minutes, 10, probably 10 minutes.
I think the weirdest thing is, why would they keep him as Lord President? I assume they all found out about his plan.
Hey, he used to be a good guy once, remember?
I mean, that's what their history says. But like, given like the events of like Day of the Doctor and like End of Time, I would have thought that they all figured it out. That he was willing to like
also,
just kill everyone.
So for me, it's an 8. But I gotta say, Landry, did you notice the gauntlet he was wearing? You know, it reminded me of that immortal gauntlet from Torchwood that made that actor.
Well, I've always assumed that's it.
It's the same prop.
Yeah,
it's the same prop.
I always
Okay,
assume
so that's why he's the immortal.
There's two gauntlets, and one of them is on Earth, and the other is worn by Rassilon.
Also,
well, technically both of them.
He's not on Earth anymore. I mean, he's not on Gallifrey
You're right,
anymore.
both of them.
He is gone. Where did he go? We don't know.
To be fair, that means that the 12th Doctor saved him from Chibnall, so we should be grateful.
No, to be fair, Chibnall probably killed him with the flux.
We don't know that yet.
We don't know that.
He probably killed him with the flux. So we
Well,
don't even know if the whole
to be fair, in the
universe is
comics,
alive or not.
he sided with the Cybermen in an alternate reality, so who knows?
This is Doogie Howser is playing, right? Is Rassilon.
God. Shut up. It's my turn for ratings. When we started this show, I was very, very stingy with my ratings. But as time has grown on, I've learned that what fits for me, I need to give it how I really feel. Heaven Sent is 10 out of 10. It is perfection. Yes, Face the Raven, it could have helped with my second rewatch. At the same time, I didn't think about it after 2 minutes. I didn't even think about it because I already knew what happened. I saw the flash inside of it of her being run through by a bird. That's all I need. I'm watching.
To be fair, I'm not rewatching Face the Raven. I don't like that episode either.
I can't really.
I forgot to mention because Face the Raven had the girl from Game of Thrones, Maisie something.
Me,
Maisie Williams, yeah.
Maisie Williams. In Hellbent, horrible acting. Just on that, horrible. Felt like she was just.
It's always weird when you see an actor on Game of Thrones on something else. You're just like, I would not think you were a good actor if I hadn't seen you on Game of Thrones. Like Emilia Clarke in that Terminator film, I'm like, did you just not want to be there? Like, your acting is not good.
I didn't mention me for a reason because it would have brought my rating down. So I'm leaving.
You already brought it to a 4. You can't bring it anymore down.
The arc is not good. I do not like the me arc. It's so pointless.
Her first appearance was horrible.
Yeah,
just Vikings.
As were every other appearance that she
was every other. Tried to make her this like super important person because she lives forever.
You made her immortal. Really? That's
Great,
the coolest
so
thing you could have done. We already have.
Well, she was redundant because that's what Clara was already. That's the whole impossible thing.
She's there to be a companion for Clara in the big Finnish adventures of Clara and me.
Did they do that?
No, it's a joke.
They should have just made Clara the impossible doctor and kept it moving. That's what should have happened.
If they make the companion journeys of Clara and me, I really want someone to like make a meme where they cross out me and put I. You know, it would be great.
So, 10 out of 10 for Heaven Sent. Hellbent, I do love this episode. I really do. But I do agree that it isn't as good as Heaven Sent. It's just not as favorable, but it's still one that I really love. And I think that it's just as important as Heaven Sent to the Doctor for this season. I mean, it's the end. It's everything. This is for all the marbles. And so I'm going to go ahead and say it's a 9.5 for me. So I'll take the highest rating of it.
9.5?
And overall, yeah, a 9.5 for Hellbent. And like if I'm rating them together, I'm going to have the most ratings for the night. If I'm rating them together, it's a 10 out of 10 two-parter for me.
No, it would be a 9.5.
It's not even the best two-parter.
No,
it's not even the best.
Yes, if it was your rating them together,
10 out of 10.
Listen,
Guys,
you
I'm
gave
worried
one
about
9.5 and another one a 9.5. The average would be 9.5.
Of all the two-parters you can say it's the best, this is probably not because you have the great first episode and then a anticlimactic second episode.
It's not anticlimactic. You're expecting other things, and thus it doesn't meet that expectation.
If you said Human Nature Family of Blood was a great two-parter, I would agree. But this is
that's 10 out of 10 too.
Yeah.
It's possible for two things to be great.
Not when they're Heaven Sent and Hell Bent.
Yeah, where only half of them is
different contexts. They're different contexts.
So anyway, Ishan says Maisie Williams was really bad on Who. I liked her best on Hellbent, and that's because she's worse in other appearances.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. I feel like it's just because the Game of Thrones was like probably at its highest or on its high during that time. So it's like, what if we get one of them onto Doctor Who? Yeah. That'll get people watching it a bit more. It's like, yeah, no, she's not good at it.
She's not even the only one they got.
She's the least famous in the Game of Thrones person.
But they also got Sir Davos in the Martian one, in the sub.
Oh yeah, they did. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Cold War.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got Sir Davos. Yeah.
Also, wait,
even before that, Sir Loris.
Yeah, Time of Angels. The cleric guy who was
Jorah. Yeah,
Batman.
Jorah.
You mean Batman? He's Batman.
But yes, Sir. The guy that plays Loris Tyrell. He was in the Sarah Jane Adventures. He's one of Joe's. He's Joe Grant's. One of Joe Grant's grandchildren.
Also, Amelia Clark. Amelia Clark's brother, the Targaryen, he was in Human Nature Family of Blood. He was the first person to smell.
Yes, he was.
He was the son, yeah.
He was really
son of mine, brother of mine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
so apparently what we're hearing is
Where are we with our ratings? Oh, go ahead.
So apparently what we're hearing is Doctor Who is the breeder of George R.R. Martin characters.
Yeah. So the thing is, you need to be either in one episode or haven't been on Doctor Who before going on Game of Thrones. Don't come from Game of Thrones to Doctor Who because then you're not good.
Yeah.
You're not as good.
I think that's our end, though. We've all given our ratings and our feelings. We want to thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to like, subscribe. If you're watching after, leave a comment down below. Helps out the channel. That's about it. Check out all the links below. Animated Concepts stuff should be there after the stream because I forgot it. I'm sorry.
No problem.
But yeah, that's it. We will see you next Wednesday for whatever it is we're going to review. You're going to have to wait and see. But one thing's for sure. There will be no Beep the Meep. Violent, anyway.
We can't show that anymore. If we get one more strike, we can't stream. We can't risk it.
Are you serious?
Yep, that's what it says. If we get another strike, we can't stream for a week.
Yeah. So no more violence.
That's Ed Brewer brings up a good point.
Yep.
The cast of Merlin was on Doctor Who.
Merlin.
Yeah, Dr. Constantine and the guy in Midnight. The kid.
Yeah, Merlin. And Uther was the head of the Quillitanes.
I haven't watched Merlin.
Oh, it's fantastic. I think you'd like it actually a lot.
It's been ages. I remember the first 2 seasons. I don't remember the rest.
Who needs Merlin when we got Gay Lancelot and Big Finish?
That's kind of true, yeah.
He's the greatest character ever.
We will figure that out after the stream. I'm not sure yet. Sorry.
Can we end it?
Yeah, we'll see you next time. Goodbye. Alonzi.